Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Can you blame me for being angry? Every time I try to give her a hard time, luck always seems to be on her side. She's even landed a top-tier endorsement now. How could Ruben not feel envious? Why was it that when he was with Harmony, she was just a minor character? Alas, she had risen to the top now, and her future development was no longer a concern. Harmony's fame had skyrocketed, and her popularity and online discussions were also on the rise. Even famous directors were constantly reaching out to Sarah with production scripts. Sarah, who used to be an unpopular agent, was now in high demand, with many major brand advertising contracts being offered to her. However, she wasn't the type of person who would accept anything for money. She prioritized Harmony's development, so she had turned down quite a few offers. Harmony came to her house for lunch that day. Ezekiel had to work, and it seemed like he was getting busier. "Are you sure Mr. Weiss is busy?" Sarah asked tentatively. She knew very well that Harmony's success was all thanks to Ezekiel's behind-the-scenes work. "Yes, he told me he's relocating his company headquarters to Averna. He will be swamped recently, and I will be joining the cast and crew soon, so we will both be busy," Harmony said. Sarah breathed a sigh of relief. Thankfully, Harmony wasn't a hopeless romantic and wouldn't neglect her work because of a man. She had clear goals she would date, but she wouldn't neglect her work either. Harmony's new drama was being filmed in Averna. Since it was a modern police and criminal story, there was no need to travel to other cities for shooting. The scenery in Averna was perfect. Moreover, principal photography was about to start in a day or two. "Oh. I've booked you a spa appointment. Let's go together this afternoon. It's time you get a nice manicure and some pampering, too," Sarah said. Harmony nodded. Relaxing was not a bad idea. Sarah added, "This is an internationally renowned spa. I paid a lot to get us in." "Thank you, Sarah. You're the best." Later in the afternoon, Harmony and Sarah went to the spa together. They thought of going to a nearby mall to shop. The shops that Sarah used to hesitate to enter, she now entered confidently. The two of them happened to come across a luxury bag store. "Let's check out the bags. You're joining a new production tomorrow, I'll get you one." "No, you mustn't. It's so expensive. Besides, Ezekiel has already given me a lot. What's from him is from him. I haven't gotten you a proper bag at all. Come on." As soon as they entered, they met with a couple of familiar faces, Catalina and her assistant. Immediately, Catalina mocked, "Well, looks like someone finally dares to spend their money here now that they've made a bit of money." Harmony snorted in response. "Is this your shop? Are we not allowed to come in?" Catalina sneered, "It's not my shop, but not everyone can afford the things here." "Well, I'm going to spend. Does it bother you, Ms. Martin?" Harmony laughed and walked up to a bag. Before turning to Sarah. "Which color do you think is nice, Sarah?" "Sorry, I'm a VIP here. I have the right to buy first." "I want all the colors of this bag," Catalina said with a smirk, flaunting her purchasing power and trying to humiliate Harmony. Harmony bit her lip and pretended to be angry. "You pack it up for me," Catalina said to the shop assistant. After that, Harmony continued to feign anger, looked at the row of bags, and then walked toward a style she liked. She winked at Sarah and said, "Sarah, this bag is also nice. Let's get one each." Catching Harmony's signal, Sarah immediately played along. "Sure. My bag is old anyway. I should get a new one." Catalina's gaze turned grim in response, and she turned to the shop assistant, who was busy helping her get 3 bags of different colors but the same design, ordering, "I also want one of all the colors you have for this bag." The shop assistant was taken aback. "Ms. Martin, this bag comes in 5 colors. Are you certain you want all of them?" Catalina couldn't let Harmony assume she couldn't afford them. She held her head high and said, "Yes. I want to buy them as gifts." Meanwhile, Harmony glanced at the price tag, and a smirk appeared on her face. She then walked over and stopped in front of another bag. "Sarah, you have a lot of stuff. I think this larger one would be perfect for you," she suggested, and Sarah nodded. "Yes, I like this one too. Let's buy it. I'll pay. One for each of us." Catalina's expression started to change. She suddenly realized that Harmony and Sarah were putting on an act while she assumed Harmony would lose interest and leave. Little did she know that Harmony would pull this trick. Harmony also noticed that Catalina had seen through her plan. So, she dropped the act and said to Catalina, "Ms. Martin, you've selected quite a few there. I'm curious to see if you're really going to pay. You wouldn't secretly return them after we leave, would you?" Catalina was proud, and Harmony had taken advantage of that. "As if I'd do that. Do you think I can't afford a few bags?" Catalina knew that Harmony was setting a trap for her, but she couldn't bring herself to refuse. Instead, she kept falling into it. "Of course, I know you can afford it, so why don't you buy them and prove it to me? If you don't pay, I'll take them." Harmony provoked her, feeling over the moon even if she didn't buy the bags herself. The shop assistant, hoping for a high commission, chimed in, "Ms. Martin, I'll calculate your total right away." At that, she and her colleague quickly calculated the total and said to Catalina, "Ms. Martin, we've calculated your total. It comes to $89,750. Would you like us to deduct it from your balance?" Catalina turned to Harmony in response and said, "See. I have enough money in my account to buy these bags. Don't underestimate me." Harmony sneered, "I'm not underestimating you, but what are you doing standing there for? Pay up." The cashier immediately asked, "Ms. Martin, shall we proceed with the payment?" Catalina casually replied, "Go ahead." The shop assistant quickly deducted the amount and completed the transaction. Harmony heard the sound of the receipt being printed and couldn't hide her smile. She said to Sarah, "Let's check out another shop, Sarah." Sarah nodded in agreement. "Let's go." The two left, leaving Catalina with a gloomy face. She felt like she had been played and was the big loser. Once they were outside, Harmony couldn't help but laugh. "Oh my gosh, what a day. I can't believe I got Catalina to spend nearly $90,000. This is even more satisfying than buying a bag for myself." "You can say that again. Catalina is just too arrogant. She thinks she will never have to worry about money, but I heard her mother's company lost a lot of money in a bet with some investors. She still can't change her extravagant spending habits." After visiting a few more stores, they headed back. Ezekiel's car was waiting outside Sarah's apartment. After Harmony got in, she was grabbed by the waist, and before she knew it, a passionate kiss was planted on her. Harmony blushed, and her heart raced. Ezekiel's way of expressing affection was still rather open, so Harmony was often treated to his passionate displays. "Did you have fun today?" Ezekiel asked. He had been busy with the company's relocation the whole day and hadn't been able to contact her properly. "Yes. I had a lot of fun," Harmony replied with a smile. How could she not be happy after tricking Catalina? At the same time, Catalina was still out while the bags she purchased earlier had been delivered home, and the recipient was her mother, who turned beyond grimly as she looked at the 8 bags on the couch. She grabbed her phone in anger and dialed Catalina's number. "Tell me about it. I thought she was some wealthy kid. Turns out, she's all style and no substance." Catalina was so furious that she could have confronted them. However, this time, she was too embarrassed and hastily left. An hour later, the news of Gloria and Catalina returning their purchases became the top trending topic. Catalina sat in her car, her face flushed. No matter how others talked about her or looked down on her, she could ignore them. However, she knew that Harmony must be laughing at her somewhere. Her earlier arrogance matched her current embarrassment. She was certain Harmony would mock her for this whenever they met again. Damn it. Catalina slapped the steering wheel in anger. Just then, her phone rang, and she answered. Hey, Ruben, I'm upset tonight. Come and keep me company. Catalina, I was just about to tell you that I have a night scene tonight. I can't come back. I don't care. You have to come back and keep me company, Catalina huffed. I really can't. How can I make a name for myself if I don't focus on acting? I saw the news online, don't overthink, alright? Do you know who got me into this situation? Who is it? Harmony Mayo, that batch. What does she have to do with it? She tricked me into buying so many bags this afternoon. I shouldn't have fallen for her scheme. Catalina thought that if she shared her grievances with Ruben, he would definitely feel sorry for her and comfort her. However, Ruben's reply was somewhat cold. Well, you better watch out next time. It really affects you and your mother's image like that. Don't you feel sorry for me? Don't you care about me? Catalina flipped out. You're an adult. You should consume rationally. Ruben's tone became even colder. I need to return to the set now. News of Gloria's failed gamble had spread throughout the industry at this point, so Ruben naturally learned about the Martins' bankruptcy quickly. In this case, how could he still care about Catalina? He was currently looking for other wealthy individuals to escape this predicament. The new production Harmony was cast and began its principal photography, and an outdoor scene was arranged for the afternoon. Harmony appeared in the crowd wearing a police uniform, blending in seamlessly. Her unique protagonist's aura was accurately captured by the camera. Cut. Good. The director gave a satisfied thumbs up. The male lead was also a serious and talented actor who performed exceptionally well. He was a male lead with an excellent personal image named Ryder Liefeld. After Harmony finished the first scene, the director arranged the second scene. It involved her chasing a drug dealer on the street and then meeting the male lead. Harmony's phone rang. Sarah glanced at the name and immediately answered. Hello, Mr. Weiss. Where are you guys? We're on set. Are you coming over? I just finished my work. I thought I'd pay a visit, Ezekiel said. As soon as he finished his work, the first person he thought of was Harmony. All right, I'll text you the address, Sarah replied, sending the address through Harmony's phone. She also unintentionally saw their chat. She truly envied and blessed Harmony for meeting a man who loved her so much. Half an hour later, around 4 p.m., Ezekiel arrived. Under the sunlight, the set created a bustling street scene, and Harmony, in her police uniform, was quite eye-catching. Sarah welcomed Ezekiel, who stood on this side of the camera. Harmony also coincidentally turned around and saw him. She flashed a radiant and sweet smile, and Ezekiel's breath paused slightly. This girl is also quite charming in a uniform, he thought. Just then, the director received a call. After the call, he walked up to Harmony and said, Harmony, we might not be able to shoot the scene anymore today. The sports car we borrowed can't come. Does it have to be a sports car? Harmony asked. Yes, Tigre's character needs to exude a super rich vibe. If he doesn't drive a sports car, it would harm his image. Harmony glanced at her boyfriend and asked the director, does it have to be a specific sports car? The director thought for a moment and replied, not necessarily. The more expensive, the better. If there's a limited edition available, that would be even more impressive. Unfortunately, we can't borrow one. Harmony patted the director on the shoulder and said, wait a moment, let me ask my boyfriend. The director looked at her with surprise and delight. We're counting on you, Harmony. Harmony approached Ezekiel, who couldn't care less about what the cast and crew thought. He wrapped his arms around Harmony's slender waist and gave her a kiss. Are you tired? Not really, I'm fine. But our crew encountered a small problem, and I was hoping you could help. Oh, really? How can I help? Our crew needs a super sports car as a prop, but the one our director managed to borrow is suddenly unavailable. Do you have any friends who could lend us one? A smile appeared in Ezekiel's eyes. Why borrow when I have one? I can have it air-shipped over for your director. It's a limited edition Bugatti. Really? Thank you so much, Harmony gushed and went to inform the director, who immediately came over to express his gratitude. Thank you, Mr. Weiss. You're welcome, it's my pleasure, Ezekiel said. After all, his girlfriend was involved, so naturally, he had to provide full support. Harmony continued filming other scenes, and Ezekiel patiently waited for her until around 7 p.m. when the director called it a day. Then, Ezekiel took her out for dinner. Harmony had been filming all afternoon on an empty stomach, only drinking water, without even having time to eat. How's the relocation of your company going? It's ongoing, no rush, it won't affect my work, Ezekiel said, reaching out to smooth her long hair. I'll visit once I have time. Sure. Harmony smiled, enjoying the time they spent together after being busy because both of them found fulfillment in their work. A cargo plane carrying documents landed at the airport. The person in charge of this document transport was a young woman who exuded a sexy and capable aura. After overseeing the transport of the car, she got into a work vehicle and looked at the bustling night view of Averna, a smile playing at the corner of her mouth. It was as if the city had become her home court, allowing her to develop freely. The image of her boss, Ezekiel, appeared in her mind. Yes, she was one of Ezekiel's capable assistants. Her name was Yana, and her previous job was to handle documents and deliver materials for Ezekiel. This time, she was also assigned to help with the relocation. She believed that in a strange city, far from her hometown, her boss would surely take good care of her. Although she had seen domestic news about rumors between her boss and a female artist, she didn't care. Due to Ezekiel's excellence, there would never be a shortage of women around him. However, whoever could truly win this man's heart and accompany him into marriage would be the ultimate winner. Yana also stayed in the hotel where Ezekiel resided. Ezekiel was currently in the process of purchasing a villa, but it would take some time. Therefore, the hotel became his temporary office space. Harmony was ready to head to the set at 8 in the morning. When Ezekiel escorted her to the door, he held her waist with some reluctance. I won't see you all day again today. Give me some compensation. At that, Harmony wrapped her arms around his neck, stood on tiptoe, and kissed him on the cheek. Is that enough? No. Ezekiel smiled. Alas, she could only kiss him on the lips. Ezekiel immediately wrapped his arms around her waist and was about to kiss her when the doorbell rang. Harmony said shyly, "It must be Sarah waiting for me outside." Ezekiel reached out to open the door, only to find a well-groomed Yana waiting outside. Yana's smile stiffened for a few seconds, but her professionalism quickly helped her regain her composure. "Good morning, Mr. Weiss. I'm here to report for work," she said. Harmony looked at the female assistant, then raised her head to glance at Ezekiel, her eyes questioning, "Why do you have such an attractive assistant?" Ezekiel introduced her, "This is my assistant, Yana. She handles my paperwork." Then he turned to Yana and said, "Yana, this is my girlfriend, Harmony. You can call her Miss Mayo." Yana's English was also very fluent. She smiled and said, "Hello, Miss Mayo. It's nice to meet you." "Hello." Harmony responded with a smile. Yana had put in a lot of effort to stay by Ezekiel's side. First of all, she was a hard-working individual who had used her impressive credentials to secure a job at Weiss Group. Within 2 years, she had climbed to the position of personal assistant to Ezekiel through her outstanding work performance. Therefore, she was not an ordinary woman, but a knowledgeable, capable, and ambitious one. Yana's gaze subtly scrutinized Harmony, and a hint of surprise flashed in her eyes. She had underestimated Harmony, who was even more beautiful and charming than she had imagined. No wonder her boss, who was not usually interested in women, had fallen for her at first sight. Just then, Sarah appeared and said to Harmony, "Harmony, we should get going." "All right." Harmony smiled, turned around, and waved at Ezekiel. "I'm off to shoot now. See you later." "Go on. We'll catch up later." Ezekiel's gaze was affectionate and gentle as he watched her leave. Yana saw this, but she didn't panic. She immediately turned to Ezekiel and said, "Mr. Weiss, let's have breakfast together. I'll give you the reports after breakfast." Ezekiel nodded. "We can discuss the reports over breakfast. I have meetings all day." Yana immediately nodded happily. "All right." This was one of the privileges of her position as an assistant, to have breakfast with the boss. Although Ezekiel's gaze had never revealed any romantic interest in her, she believed that if she stayed by his side long enough, he would eventually notice her. At the breakfast table, Yana professionally reported her work, and Ezekiel only discussed work-related topics with her. Just then, Yana noticed someone taking pictures of Ezekiel with their phone, and that person happened to be an internet celebrity who recognized Ezekiel as Harmony's rumored boyfriend. They were just trying to get some attention. Yana saw this and immediately stood up to position herself in a way that made her seem closer to Ezekiel. The internet celebrity noticed Yana's little scheme and immediately thought they had caught a big scoop. Harmony's boyfriend having an intimate breakfast with another girl? This is big news. In the photos, thanks to Yana's clever positioning, it looked like she and Ezekiel were having a pleasant breakfast, definitely a very close working relationship. After taking these photos, the internet celebrity quickly posted them on their social media with the caption, "Guess who I ran into? I didn't mean to take these photos. It was just a coincidence." Because of her popularity, the media quickly picked up on it and used an even more sensational headline. Harmony Mayo's love life in crisis, boyfriend seen getting cozy with beautiful assistant during breakfast. Harmony was in the middle of shooting, and Sarah was idly browsing the news on the side, keeping an eye on the dynamics of the entire network. Soon, she came across this news. She was surprised as she looked at the photos. Wasn't this the female assistant at Ezekiel's door in the morning? How did Ezekiel end up in a scandal with her? Moreover, judging from the angle of the photos taken by the internet celebrity, it seemed like they were indeed very close. No. Harmony's relationship can't be over just like that, can it? Sarah observed Harmony, who was filming earnestly, and suddenly became concerned. However, she hesitated to share her worries with Harmony, fearing that it would affect her mood during filming. Finally, Harmony found a moment to rest. She approached Sarah and asked for her phone. "Can I please have my phone, Sarah?" Harmony reached out for it, and Sarah quickly responded, "Your phone is dead. I'll charge it for you later. Take a rest and have some water first." Sarah took her phone away. Harmony blinked, and just then, a crew member approached her, offering comfort. "Harmony, don't let it get to you, okay?" Harmony looked up at her, confused. "Get to me? What do you mean?" "Well, you know how men can be. Don't let it ruin your life. Making money and focusing on our careers are more important." Harmony felt bewildered as the crew member left, and just then, a supporting actress approached her with her phone. "Harmony, is this true? I can't believe your boyfriend did this." Harmony immediately took the supporting actress' phone, staring at the screen in disbelief at the photos she was seeing. "Did your boyfriend really cheat on you with a female assistant?" Harmony forced a faint smile. "They're just employer and employee. Outsiders must have misunderstood." Despite what she said, Harmony felt overwhelmed, as if a flood had suddenly rushed in. She had experienced betrayal just 2 months ago, so she knew this feeling all too well. She was also skilled at dealing with it. However, this time was different from the last. Last time, she was mostly angry, but this time, she tasted the bitterness of heartbreak. "Harmony, hurry up, we're starting," the assistant director called out to her. Harmony stood up, holding back the tears in her eyes. She pushed everything to the back of her mind and returned to the set. "Harmony, don't be sad. You were prepared for this, and you never expected to end up with Ezekiel. Having had him and loved him is already a blessing. What else could she ask for? Even if he no longer loved her, it was something she couldn't force. The next scene involved Harmony's character losing her mother, and she needed to cry. When the director said action, Harmony's tears instantly fell. The director and the crew on set were shocked and impressed with Harmony's acting. The tears came as soon as they were called for. She nailed it in one take, but when everyone was happily preparing to wrap up, they found Harmony sitting there, her tears still falling uncontrollably. "Harmony, are you okay?" Sarah quickly approached with tissues, saying to the director, "I've got this." Then, she helped Harmony leave the set and went to the MPV. "You saw it, didn't you? Don't overthink. Mr. Weiss and this assistant must just have a professional relationship," Sarah tried to reassure her. Harmony took a deep breath. "I know, don't worry about me. I'm really not upset. I'm always prepared to leave him." She put on a brave face, but Sarah knew that this was just a facade. The young woman was deeply hurt. "Harmony, why don't you call Mr. Weiss? I believe he will explain everything to you," Sarah suggested. Harmony shook her head. "No, I won't interfere with his personal relationships. If this is true, I accept it. I just hope to end this relationship peacefully." Sarah sighed. It was a good thing that Harmony was open-minded. After all, even she couldn't be sure if Ezekiel truly loved her. Harmony closed her eyes. "Sarah, can you leave me alone for a while?" Sarah left, but Harmony's tears fell like beads from a broken string. She was truly hurt. This feeling was 1,000 times worse than when Reuben hurt her. It was almost life-threatening. Harmony even felt as if the air in the car was scarce, as if she was in a state of hypoxia. Tears cascaded down her face like an endless waterfall. The heartbreak was so overwhelming that she didn't know how to handle it. Outside, Sarah continued reading the news article. She desperately wanted to share it with Ezekiel and have him explain what was going on. However, she didn't dare to do so. After all, Ezekiel's status was not something she could challenge. Having been in this circle for so long, she understood the rules of the game for the wealthy one couldn't be too demanding. Even if Ezekiel was involved with another woman, all Harmony could do was cause a scene. After that, she would have to compromise if she wanted to continue enjoying his resources. Meanwhile, in the office, Yenna also witnessed the impact of the media's coverage, which pleased her greatly. She was waiting for Ezekiel to call her in so she could play the victim and explain herself. Surely, Ezekiel would feel sorry for her being implicated. Ezekiel was currently in a meeting with managers who had flown in from all over the world to report to him. His mind was fully focused on work, oblivious to what was happening outside. Miles was also engrossed in the meeting, leaving him no time to check the news online. Finally, the meeting ended at 11:30 a.m. After lunch, Ezekiel had 2 more meetings scheduled. His schedule was almost entirely filled with meetings. Once the other managers had left, Yenna approached Ezekiel's table to tidy up the documents. Seeing that Ezekiel was completely unaware of the online incident, she felt obligated to remind him. "Mr. Weiss, take a look at this. I don't know which media outlet wrote this nonsense. Our relationship is purely professional, but they wrote it as if we have an ambiguous relationship," Yenna said, pretending to be upset. Ezekiel took the tablet and glanced at it, then reassured Yenna, "Don't worry about it. It's just the media making things up." As he said this, Ezekiel suddenly stood up from his chair, startling Miles, who quickly asked, "Boss, what's wrong?" "Harmony." Ezekiel grabbed his phone and rushed out of the meeting room, practically sprinting. Yenna couldn't help but call after his retreating figure, "Mr. Weiss, you still have a meeting." Miles told her, "The boss has something more important to attend to right now." "What is it?" "To explain this to Miss Mayo." Miles pointed to the scandal on the tablet, then looked deeply into Yuna's eyes. Yuna, you've worked hard to reach this position. You must cherish it. Yuna immediately feigned ignorance. I don't know what you mean, Miles. Miles didn't elaborate either. I'm just giving you some advice. Take it or leave it. Ezekiel hurriedly made his way to the production set. He dialed Harmony's number, but there was no answer. He immediately thought she might be filming, so he dialed Sarah's number instead. When Sarah heard her phone ringing, she was surprised to see it was Ezekiel. She opened the car door and asked Harmony, "Harmony, why didn't you answer Mr. Weiss' call?" "I don't want to answer it, and I don't want to hear his explanation. I have to go back on set." After experiencing such intense pain, Harmony surprisingly remained calm. Sarah was a bit concerned. "Do you want me to get you a day off? Why don't we take a break today?" "No, I can film, Sarah. I can lose everything except my job," Harmony said. Now, she could only numb herself with work, giving herself a sense of direction so she wouldn't get lost. Sarah held Harmony's still ringing phone. "Should I answer Mr. Weiss' call?" "Go ahead," Harmony said and went to get her makeup touched up. Sarah answered the call at the last moment, pretending to be calm. "Hello, Mr. Weiss. How can I assist you? Is Harmony with you?" "No, she's gone to film." "She's not with me. Has she seen those rumors on the internet?" Ezekiel inquired. Sarah smiled and replied, "She probably has, but she doesn't care." "Don't worry, Mr. Weiss. I'm coming to explain it to her," Ezekiel said before ending the call. Sarah couldn't help but glance at Harmony, who was filming, and wondered if Harmony could handle Ezekiel's explanation. In less than 20 minutes, Ezekiel's car pulled over by the side of the road. He stepped out of the car with only his car keys and phone in hand and swiftly approached the set. Since everyone recognized him, no one impeded his progress. Ezekiel entered the filming site and spotted the girl standing in the crowd, wearing a skirt. He patiently waited on the sidelines. Sarah approached him and greeted, "Mr. Weiss, you've arrived." Ezekiel's gaze remained fixed on Harmony. He noticed her expression and couldn't help but ask, "Has she been crying?" "It's a crying scene for her," Sarah explained. Harmony looked up and saw Ezekiel standing on the set. Suddenly, she lost all composure. She said to the director, "Sir, I need a break." "Go ahead. Your boyfriend is here anyway," the director replied. Harmony went up to Ezekiel. Although she didn't want to face him in this situation, what good would running away do? She had to confront the situation head-on one way or another. Even if he did have an ambiguous relationship with his assistant, she would make it clear. She didn't want to be the third wheel. Ezekiel watched her approach. He was about to speak when Harmony said, "There's a cafe over there. Let's go sit down and have a proper chat." Ezekiel looked at her with concern and agreed, "Okay, I also have something to discuss with you." Harmony led the way, her mind filled with the images she had just seen. The assistant who had appeared at their door in the morning was clearly more dressed up than a typical assistant. Had she been too naive to realize that the assistant was dressing up for Ezekiel? Ezekiel observed the girl walking ahead. He expected Harmony to be furious and bombard him with questions. However, reality proved to be the opposite. He saw a composed Harmony. After entering the cafe, a server promptly approached to take their order. Harmony chose a secluded corner seat away from the crowd. Ezekiel's profound gaze focused on her face. "Harmony, did you see those pictures on the internet? Please, believe me, they were deliberately taken by someone with malicious intent. My assistant was merely leaning in to discuss work-related matters with me." Harmony nodded and replied, "Yes, I saw them. Actually, I don't know you very well. You always seem mysterious to me. I was prepared for the possibility that you might have other women. It doesn't matter. After all, in this society, everyone pursues their own needs." As Harmony spoke, Ezekiel across from her was taken aback. Her tone and expression seemed to indicate that she no longer wanted him. Harmony, he looked at her in astonishment. Ezekiel, I'm grateful to have met you. You've provided me with great opportunities, and I willingly slept with you during this time. However, I can't tolerate sharing a man with another woman. So, let's part ways amicably. Let's not make it too difficult for each other. I'm a straightforward person, so if we're breaking up, let's just break up. Harmony wasn't being open-minded, she was forcing herself to say these words that contradicted her true feelings. She didn't want to pressure Ezekiel, who finally understood why Harmony hadn't cried, made a scene, or questioned him. It was because she assumed that he and his assistant had something going on. Harmony, are you finished? Is it my turn to speak now? Ezekiel asked gently. Harmony paused for a moment, contemplating if there was anything she had left unsaid. Eventually, she remembered something and said, "Oh, right. The jewelry and watch you gave me before, I will return them to you. These are all valuable items, and I don't want to keep them." Ezekiel felt a pang in his chest. How wonderful. This girl has already planned to leave. How considerate of you to think about returning the gifts I gave you. I've seen many assistants having that kind of relationship with their bosses, I understand. After all, you had needs before you met me, Harmony sympathetically explained. Ezekiel sighed and asked again, "Is there anything else you want to say?" "I'll wait for you to finish." Seeing that he neither denied nor admitted, Harmony was certain she was right. She suppressed her sadness and said, "No, that's all." "Oh. I will also inform the director that we won't be borrowing your car anymore, as I don't want to inconvenience you." Ezekiel was on the verge of exploding with anger, unable to believe that Harmony was so efficient in severing their ties, not even giving him a chance to explain. "Are you also packing up and moving out of my room tonight?" Ezekiel couldn't help but ask. Harmony nodded. "Yes, I should leave. I won't disturb you and your beautiful assistant, lest I'm labeled inconsiderate." "How considerate of you." Ezekiel huffed. Harmony couldn't help but give a bitter smile. "You're my benefactor. Of course, I have to be considerate." Ezekiel was so angry that he could feel his blood boiling. "Are all my efforts in this past month meaningless to you? Do you have no trust in me? Harmony Mayo, listen to me. I, Ezekiel Weiss, only want you in this lifetime. If you dare leave me, I will search for you relentlessly." Ezekiel lightly slapped the table, expressing his opinion. Harmony was taking a sip of her coffee when she was startled by his words and burned her mouth. She hissed in pain. The man across the table immediately got up and leaned over to check on her. "What's wrong?" "Let me see." Harmony looked up into his concerned eyes. She forgot about the pain in her mouth, blinked, and looked at him with a pitiful expression. "What did you just say? You will search for me?" Ezekiel quickly squatted down to comfort her. No, what I meant was, any rumors about me being with other women are false. I want you and only you." Harmony set down her coffee, threw herself into his arms, and sobbed into his chest. "I knew it. I knew you wouldn't abandon me." Ezekiel gently patted her shoulder. "How could I possibly not want you? Others may doubt me, but you must believe me. If I believe you, will you let me down?" Harmony blinked, cupping his face and asking. Ezekiel shook his head with certainty. "No. I will ensure your success." Harmony chuckled. She had just used a popular phrase, but she didn't think he would understand it. She wrapped her arms around him and said, "I believe you, then. But I want to make a pact with you. I don't want to be unhappy in the future." Ezekiel naturally prioritized her feelings at this moment. He nodded. "I'll go get some paper and a pen. You dictate and I'll write." Ezekiel actually got up to ask the server for paper and a pen. When he returned with them, Harmony looked at him with pursed red lips and said, "You're not actually writing it down, are you?" I'll write it down, sign it, and give it to you for safekeeping, Ezekiel said. He was serious. After hearing Harmony's words, he became anxious. Harmony was a woman of her word. If she said she would do something, she would do it. Go ahead. Whatever conditions you have, just tell me. I'll agree to them. First, if you find someone you like, please inform me proactively. That way, I can prepare myself to move on. Ezekiel was taken aback, then immediately retorted, we don't need to write this one down. That will never happen.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.